The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply. USAA.
Time for another coffee break, y'all. Fresh out of the Olympian himself. How do you say his second name? Zac Stubblety-Cook, is it?
Zac Stubblety-Cook.
Oh, great last name.
Great name.
Remember when Kurt Angle used to go, I'm an Olympic gold medalist.
Bam, bam.
Bam, bam.
So good. Man,
Right.
I get so into just on Instagram watching all those old school WWE
Oh,
highlights.
wasn't it good?
Oh, my God. Kurt Angle, the taker.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. You're choking on it. You're
it's
fine.
getting
I'm so
Wow.
emotionally moved by it.
Younger
Stone
Brock
Cold.
Lesnar.
Oh, my God. All of them just coming in. What happened to Brock? Because he went to the UFC, right?
He went to the UFC, then he went back to the WWE. Then I think he came back to the UFC again. He had some health issues.
Yeah, right. He was
so-
a chunky, he was a beefer man.
Big boy.
He's a beef man.
He's a massive fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, WWE. That was it back in the day, wasn't it?
Oh, I used to every weekend come home from school Friday night. You'd get what were the nights? I think SmackDown was on the Friday, and
We live in a more progressive world, let's just say, nowadays. And a lot of the stuff that they did back then, they probably wouldn't get away with today.
oh, absolutely not. I mean, there's that whole McMahon documentary coming out where it's he's not a great guy.
No, apparently not. But I'll tell you,
I never got the wrestling bug. Just never got it.
And for a beefy man, that's
For a beefy man.
interesting.
but to pivot from not so great man to a great man, Zac Stubblety-Cook.
Can't believe I missed it. I'm
Well,
so sorry.
well, it was an impromptu one because he kind of popped up, and we've been trying to get him onto the pod for a while, and it's just never really worked out. And he messaged me one day last week and said, "Hey, look, I'll be in Melbourne. Do you want to do a pod while I'm in town?" And thankfully, the stars just aligned. I had to quickly leave work to come and do it.
Yeah.
Go back to do more work on the day, but
I was out in Mount Dandenong for a family getaway.
yeah,
Selfish.
just on a work junket, but.
Actually, grab the photo, Ro. Have a look.
He keeps sending me though weird selfies with his medal in all these weird places. He just every night at about 11 o'clock, I just get pictures from him and his medal.
Zach,
Yeah,
really?
no,
We all got to
that's
hold
sick.
his
You got
medals.
to hold the medal. You got to hold his two big medals.
But I tell you what, it's really cool to direct this towards coffee now. It's really cool to have someone like that in the coffee industry, and hopefully to have in the future as an ambassador for the industry in a lot of ways, because the amount of more people that we can bring into it would just increase dramatically having more people like him.
Yeah, and I think we did a really great episode a little while ago. If you're new to the pod, you should go back and listen to it, where we kind of broke down celebrity coffee companies, right? And, this is a slightly different thing if you're putting him on the level of celebrity, but he has a level of, notoriety and celebrity.
Big gold medalist.
Yeah, exactly. And we were talking about people who are doing it right and people who are just doing it for the cash grab, and he seems like someone that's doing it right.
Yeah.
For real. I was like, I was so, I mean, you already known him before. He'd been on your pod before, right? I was taken away with how much he is genuinely in love with coffee. And we actually brought up, Jimmy, obviously Big Face Coffee and the whole thing. And he, during the Olympics, he had to go into quarantine as well, and he travels pretty light with a couple kilos of. He ships in coffee as well.
Yeah,
right?
from all his favorite
all
restaurants.
over,
Fleming.
and everyone knew that he was dishing out some like high quality, beautiful coffee, and pretty much the same thing as like Big Face Coffee. I was like, yo, like all these elite Olympians knew like that they had the coffee.
I remember seeing on Cody Simpson's story. Cody Simpson was like,
yeah.
Zach's always got the good coffee.
Oh, that's sick.
It was so sick. Yeah.
Well, the question is, does Jimmy Butler, has he ever played in the Olympics? Has he got a gold medal? I don't think so.
I don't know
Was
if
he
he's played
part
in
of
the
the-
Olympics. He might have. He might have played in the Tokyo, maybe. But
Liam's on it.
Definitely good enough to.
Well, I just want to, separate, our boy and go like, well, is the only Olympic gold medalist dishing out coffee like this?
yeah, true. This is true. Speaking of which, we We are working behind the scenes on our Jimmy Butler campaign.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
There's been a few emails.
There's been a few emails sent. We are working frivolously behind the scenes to try and get Jimmy Butler on the podcast. And have you seen the lever machine that he's got inside of his house?
No. Oh, did he do it in his architect, the AD thing? Did he did like a... Can you do that?
Well, it was like an MTV crib style sort of TV show that he did. And in his house, he's got a 3-group lever machine with the big face insignia on it.
No way.
It was from his trip to the La Marzocco factory in Italy. He went and did that same one that you did. And he saw the lever machine and was like, I have to have that in my house. Found that very interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The answer is yes, 2016 US Olympic team. So he's a gold medalist.
Okay, right. Well, we would have our second one.
And I think it was I'll just search up here as well. AD interview. So Architectural Digest, is that?
His house was pretty impressive.
Yeah, so it's one of those like nerdy, like this is my Zen space. This is where I chill out and do this.
The man appreciates the good life.
I really wanted to do like a mock edit. I don't know how I do it, but at the start of the video opens the door and he's like, oh, hey, AD, welcome to my place. Come on in. And I just wanted to cut to Anthony Davis on the other side being like, hey, Jimmy, man, I don't know if I really want to come in, man.
As you can see here.
Or Anthony Douglas.
Oh, Anthony Douglas just on the other side. And he's like, you are an inspiration for the coffee community.
But how good would it be and one thing we spoke about on the pod as well is getting Zac into competition.
Oh, yeah, to win another gold medal.
Yeah, so, what if he did Brewers Cup?
I mean, he was like, we asked him about like going into roastery and stuff like that. And the top of his list was actually the Brewers Cup, which was interesting.
Do we have the skill sets to be his training team and do it? Because this is a great PR story. If we took him under our wing and...
He's pretty well connected in coffee. Yes, we do.
Yeah, but I want the PR story. I'm not trying to give him to someone else.
Yeah, true. Well, scratch that. Yes, we do. Yes, we absolutely do. So we'll be training Zac to be the World Brewers Cup champion.
Yeah, amazing.
And, I think Jimmy Butler's even mentioned before as well. He's like, when I'm done my career, I want to be in barista competitions and stuff like that. So, it'll be very interesting.
It is. I always find those barista comps interesting. From your experience competing in them, Kirk, do you think like a certain amount of, because a lot of these people are trained by some of the best coffee professionals in the world with doing it. How much of it is them and how much of it is just them being told it's like, hey, let's do this and they have a part in it? Or is it both? Are there somewhere it's like, is it just someone learning a routine and perfecting it?
Well, you don't win unless you're the best barista, really. Like, I mean, there's no, we've spoken about this as well. There's no clear way to win a barista competition. It's very subjective, but you've got to be seriously skilled to be able to do it because it's not like you just get a copy and pasted routine. You've got to go out and deliver it.
But why not? Why couldn't it be that?
Because you still have to, because the important things that you're graded on are, the making espresso on the fly. You have to dial your coffee in on stage and you might be thrown a curveball then and you've got a limited time frame to do it. And you need to be skilled enough to be able to improvise in that situation.
In what way? Because, I feel like obviously I would say being able to dial in a coffee to what you've been training to do for a long time is a skill set, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's a skill set of the best barista in the world.
Well, yes and no, because sometimes you get things thrown at you that you're not expecting. Like, is the water the same? And that's a huge deal. Like the water that you get given at competitions, like it's going to make or break your coffee. So,
how do you adjust to that? Just with like, as in brew ratios, you're adjusting?
Yes, exactly. So you'll identify the flavor. So it'll extract differently according to the water, and you have to use your skills to be able to get it to a level where that's going to be excellent. And then you have to go on stage and deliver it and still make it to that exacting standard because it's all manual shots in a competition. Yeah. And then you've got to make the milk drink and you've got to have a certain level of skill for that as well. And you need to deliver it in a certain time frame. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of skill involved in it. You have to be excellent.
I definitely agree that you have to be excellent. I'm sure these people would be at an extremely high standard. But when it comes to like designing the signature drink, finding the coffee, picking it, like, there's like a lot of story about like, I went out to the farm and did this and did that. I just have the question of like how much of that, I feel like it'd be more interesting if there wasn't a coach. If it was just like, I don't know how you judge that, but if it was just one person and their vision rather than like a committee kind of deciding what this routine is.
Well, I think this is the big argument around competition is that they need to make it where everyone's coming at it from a more level playing field.
Yeah.
Because then you might...
There's a lot of money pumped into these top people that are doing it. And so that's what I mean. You're getting a lot of help to be at that top level.
And listeners and or viewers of this podcast would be that are new to it and might not know, like, people spend tens of thousands of dollars on trying to become the world barista champion. More. Yeah, maybe. It might even be in six figures. Like some people pay for coaches and some people spend, an unbelievable amount on their coffee. Then there's flying overseas, getting the equment, all sorts of things. It could be a good
question for if we get Jack on the pod, asking him with his, nuclear radio waves from the ship's science. Like, where did that idea come in, and who's making that connection, and those, because that's such an incredible story. And like,
well, I'm lucky enough to have like witnessed that a little bit behind the scenes, and he came up with a lot of that idea organically. Jack's got a very strong personality and doing things he believes in. So I mean, and you kind of have to have a bit do that in a competition. Anthony, when he won, was very much the same, and I think he was pretty brave with his coffee selection. But then if you look at someone like that, they've got all this talent in-house where they don't have to go and hire, a coach for this, that, and the other. They've just got all the sort of talent in the building to be able to deliver on it. So
which I kind of like, to me, that kind of makes sense. If you're like working within a group that has a shared vision and everyone is on the same page, then it's like, we're crafting this story that also speaks to our ethos and beliefs at our roastery and that kind of thing. So that kind of feels organic to me. But some people would be hiring people outside of just who they know of done well in the past or know how to play the system.
Well, you look at Coulter Road, who and his brother David, who coached Borum, so the World Barista champion from last year, and then Mikhail, who won this year. So they've kind of figured out what wins a barista competition, and like they were hired to do it. Yeah. So, and Cole himself has come third in the World Barista Championship previously. So, no stranger to success at that level.
The game, not the player. That's what they say. But what about you, Kirk? What are your dreams, visions, passions? I know you've entered the Brewers a couple times in that. What's next for you? Do you see yourself pushing that limit, ever entering the WBC, the barista comp? And
I'd like to one day again, but I think right now, like, I'm so tied up with my business and growing that, and then this as well, that like I don't know if I'd have time. Like, I would love to. I'd absolutely love to. My business partner, Johan, really wants me to. I think we'll just have to see. There's layers.
Get the next shop up. Get that happening, and then once everything's kind of running a bit more, smoothly. Not that it's not running smoothly now, but you know what I mean? Once you've got it all going and the cogs turning.
Yeah.
I think it's, I'd also love it as this pod. I'd love to take that journey with you, explore it, learn about it, see the process and work that kind of goes into it. And I'm sure I see this switch happening in the coffee world where I feel like everything a few years ago was very protected and very secretive and very held back and guarded. But I feel like I see you taking approach, and I feel like it's the best approach for progress in any industry is an openness of sharing ideas and doing it. So I think this pod is a great place to kind of do that journey and and document it.
There's been a lot of people that have come into the shop, actually. They're asking to see how we do things, and they want to come in on certain days to check our equipment to see if it's worth getting for them for themselves.
Oh, wow.
People who have reached out via email to the podcast that have been forwarded on to me, and we've sort of spoken about things. So we've helped a few people by obviously producing the podcast, but then, I've had some people contact me as well. So that's been
great.
Really awesome. I'm not typically good at responding to people on Instagram and text messages, but I've been doing the best I can with this, and
good on you.
It's great when they come into the shop and we can talk. I think all the staff that work for me are sort of drilled in the same way. It's been really good, really refreshing experience. And I think there's a whole lot more of that to come, to be quite frank with you.
Absolutely. Just to bring it back to Zac, I know you weren't here for the app, but there were some of the craziest coffees I've had in a long time. He definitely embraced the co-ferment and the kind of funky flavored. Yes.
Remember his hot take with 2 sugars?
Oh, what was it?
Co-fermented coffees are the future of the industry.
Yeah.
That's a spicy take.
Here's Tim Varney and Joe from Rumble roasting me, although, they're both Tim Varney half-hearted and then, Joe is now a believer. But yeah, I think he's onto something, Zac Stubblety-Cook.
Absolutely. And he's
not. Come on. Are you drawing a line in the sand here?
I'm not saying that. I would not say, no, that's just a very heavy-sided argument of saying it's the future of coffee.
For what reason?
Because it's not.
Yeah, but, all right. Well,
because I think it's a future segment. It's going to be a large growing segment of coffee, but I don't think it's the future. Like that's all coffees are going to be co-ferment, or 90% of coffees sold around the world are going to be co-fermented coffee.
Did he say coffee industry or specialty? I can't remember.
I think it was just coffee in general.
Even if he said specialty, I don't agree with that, because I would almost say on the opposite. People seem to think, if anything, I think the layman would be more turned on by co-fermented coffees than like purist specialty people. I know there's like a line in the sand and, it's either yes, they're good, no, they're bad, or like they're fine but different. I think because they're such straightforward flavors, like often coffee, when you're having like a nice specialty coffee, it's like, we'll drink it, we'll be like, ooh, I'm getting like a little citrus there and the black tea and a little touch of this. And you'll give it to someone who's a layman and they'll be like, it just tastes like sour coffee. Like, what do you mean? Like, there's nothing there. But if you give anyone who doesn't know coffee that well one of like the watermelon coffee or a mango lassi, it's like, yeah, it tastes like mangoes.
But isn't that his point? Isn't that the point that he's trying to make? Like, you're bringing more people in.
Yeah, but
I
think it's just a growing segment. I don't think it's like going to be the majority of coffee.
I get that. Like, it's kind of like we chatted about it on the pod. Actually, it's so similar to like sour beers. It's just a genre that's like going to come into it. And I think it's at its infancy and still has so much more development to come into it. So you might be like
those craft beers are going to be a big, the segment will grow a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're ever going to be going, hey, do you know the biggest selling beer in the world's the Heineken Sour Apple?
Yeah. It made me so excited though.
Do I have that?
Oh. I wish. I love my funky. I love all that stuff. And the way he was talking.
You're funky.
Hey, thank you. But he was talking about like, so with Sapidus Roasters, that's the company he works with, they're bringing out like a kind of specialty co-ferment, like the Japanese tea bags.
The drip bags.
Yeah, drip bags.
Yeah.
Which is so sick. And I was like, but they're like small batch, like seasonal, not seasonal, but like flavored for like themed stuff, like their Christmas blah and like Halloween stuff like that.
Fold it out over a cup, pour some hot water in, bing bong baggity boo.
Bing bang
biggity bong. Is that the noise that it makes, or is that what you make when you're making it?
That's what I make when I make it.
Okay, so when you make it, you go bing bang baggity boo.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, pretty much.
Silence of the night. Alarm goes off. It's still morning. Kirk's kitchen door opens.
The cock crows.
Bing bang bong biggity bong.
I like that. I like that.
This is what happens when you're 5 podcasts in.
What other
making noises at each other for the next 5 minutes?
What other celebrities could we coax into competing in the barista comps?
Oh, that's a good question.
I mean, I've spoken about it with Adam Zampa years ago, who's an Australian cricketer.
Yeah,
maybe we can coerce him into getting into it. Maybe some of the other cricket boys, Steve Smith. Carl Stefanovic. Do you reckon his first test is he's going to have to box on with Dan Dick?
Yeah, exactly. But that would be so good. Get them both competing against each other. And he's like, I'm just making a straightforward coffee here, not like old mate Ginger Whinger.
Oh. Do you reckon? Yeah. I wonder how Dan's feeling after our prank call incident.
Mate.
We got him pretty good.
I go 50-50 on that. Like I afterwards kind of had the moment of like my guilt's like kicked in. And as soon as I heard him start getting upset when he was like, and it was so sincere, like I I was like, oh my God, we're going to stop. My guilt can't handle this. But it would have been interesting.
By the
to
way,
hear
folks,
it go a little further.
That was 100% real. You know, if anyone tries to think, oh, that was staged, that was 100% real.
I don't think you could listen to that. You can hear the authenticity in that call.
Yeah. The pauses. Sorry, what did you say? The deafening silence. Oh my gosh.
Well, I thought you'd have my back.
Oh,
when he said that,
it
I
was
was
just
like,
so
boy.
sincere. Just like, after everything we've been through, I thought you'd have my back on that one. I was like, oh my God, stop.
Yeah, but you know, I'm sure he'll get me back at some stage. He loves a good bit of revenge, Dan Dick.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I look forward to it.
We'll see.
I'll probably be there.
But I think that just about wraps us up for this coffee break.
Celebs. We have Jimmy Butler. We want to get him on the pod. You know, it's a reach. Hoffman. Surely we can get Hoffman.
Oh, we can get Hoffman. Surely. I'm trying to get Christopher Hendon on before the end of the year. That might be a bit more of a niche one, but he's a...
What episode are we up to?
We're coming up to our, internally 50th.
Okay. Like coffee breaks included and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
maybe...
outwardly we're on 30.
So if we're saying our 50th, well, whatever the real one is, maybe it's... What do you look at? Do you go for a Hoffman? Do you aim to have like a 50th episode, 100th episode? 100th episode, we get the Hoff on. And by that I mean Hasselhoff.
I mean, something to keep in mind. We work on it.
Yeah.
We work on it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Got some connections.
Yeah.
We'll make some things happen.
That's so cool.
Sona's pretty good on the emails.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Coffee Break. If you've got any questions, want to reach out to ya boys, hit us at hello@itsjustcoffeepod.com. Hit us on the socials at that same handle, It's Just Coffee. Got lots of good content going out on those reels and that kind of thing. And as we always say here, if you're loving the pod, if you're loving the chat, why don't you tell a friend?
Tell 2 friends.
Tell 3.
Tell 4.
And tell more.
There you go.
Bing, bang, boom.
But as always.
I thought that was out. I was like, that's amazing. Just cut out of that.
Well, I mean, maybe I disturbed it. So, Liam.
Bing, bang, boom.